you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. So now, like, I think the most common go off of this is like, okay, I can like barely get into a front squat, and I have no shot of getting into an overhead squat. How do I get there if I'm not telling my muscles are so tight? How what do you tell this person when it's like, I know that the Metcon has front squats in it, and I can't even do I can barely do a front squat with the bar, and because I'm just so immobile that way. Like, what do you tell
So
them?
that's why
Like,
with those
just
people where you're talking about, hey, the people that show up 10 minutes late are loving this talk, you want to get more into the people showing up 10 minutes early. You need to mobilize beforehand. You need to get into those end ranges where, like, get your wrist stretched out where they're going to be when you're front squat, get overhead end range, and then having a sustained pressure that way. And you're getting your muscles to relax, but you're doing this beforehand so that when you get into your dynamic warm up, that's when you're starting to prime your muscles again, and then you're back to normal where you don't have relaxed muscles anymore because you just ran through a dynamic. If you have to,
so you're even saying go static, dynamic,
if you
then
are
start working
if you
out.
do not have that mobility, if you know that it's a tough workout, then I would say static, dynamic, and then go would be the route to do.
And then static again
You
at the
can
end, do you
do
think?
static at the end. That would be more of a time thing.
Yeah, what do you think
What's
about
that?
like cool down stretches? Are they important? Like, do you think like after you're done with a workout, you like hang out and do some cool down stretches? Is that important? Do you do that? What's the point of that? Is
They
it
are
like worth your
important.
time or not?
I mean, you're getting your body to, before you walked into the gym, you can't do front squats, and now you had to mobilize to get into it. If you spend that time afterwards doing that, you will eventually not have to come beforehand, and then you'll be good. So, yes, it's important.
Mhm. So when you say how is mobilizing and static stretching different? Are they
Somewhat.
different?
Um, Mobilize, you can get into like more of like manual stretching where you use bands and you get into end range, and then those bands help you fight against that end range, so you are actively putting yourself into that position. Whereas static, you should be passive or you should be relaxed and just get into the position, hang out, do nothing. When you're mobilizing beforehand, you are intentionally trying to get into a position and hold that position against some sort of tension. So a little bit different, but they can be seen as
That
being
makes
very
sense.
similar, and they are.
Right, right. I think that people, and myself included, like struggle with the difference because you're like both of the in mobilizing and static stretching in
Hmm.
both sense you're not moving, right? Like there's very little movement when you're mobilizing or static stretching. But you said, which was I thought was key, you said that mobilizing is more active stretching, where static is more passive stretching. So if like you're like sweating while you're
Right.
static
You're
stretching,
doing
you're
it
probably
wrong.
not static stretching, is what you're saying. You're
Yes.
probably you're probably
Yeah.
mobilizing.
Or you're just getting
That's
into a
very
position
sad.
you shouldn't be
Yeah,
in anyway,
absolutely.
right? Because you start to sweat when you
Right.
stretch, when you fire your sympathetic nervous system, and it's your fight or flight, and your body's like, this is not where I should be. I need to get out, but you're kind of forcing yourself to stay in that position. So that's when you start to sweat and you're not sure what's going
Right.
on.
And that's not good either.
Um, so that's a good way to see, like, if
Right.
you start to sweat, and it's tough if you do it at the end of a workout, right? If you like can't really tell if the sweat's from the workout or from the stretching. But if you're doing it at home and you start to stretch and you start to sweat while you're doing some passive static stretching to end your night out, probably doing it wrong.
Right. Right. Do you think that's benefit? That was going to be my next step into this. Like, you hear some people that are like, "Oh, I like to start my day with some stretches. I like to end my day with some stretches." Are they important? Would you think that they're beneficial? Which one's better? Which one's
Yeah, I
worse?
would
Where
say
do you
that
feel on
ending
that
your day
stuff?
with stretching is probably better than starting your day, just talking about that relaxation phase of it. When you ending your day, you're going to sleep, you're going to bed. So if you get into those passive stretches, that helps relax your muscles even further than what you did to just wind down from the day. If you do it to start your day, one, it depends on what you do in the day. If you are a very active, like manual laborer, and you start your day with stretching, you could be more susceptible to injuries because you're relaxing those muscles, and now you have to go work construction. You need to work out on the field all day with your muscles somewhat relaxed from the beginning of how you started your day, and you could be in some trouble if you do that day after day. So I would shift that to more nighttime and still get that, because it is very beneficial to get into uncomfortable positions for some time, but never painful positions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that you hit it on the head there. Like, static stretching is by no means bad. I think it's super important. Like, I love doing static stretches at nighttime. I do my little GoWatt app. Like, I would say 4 or 5 times a week. I probably should try to do it all 7, but I'm probably more like 4 or 5. And like, I can tell the next day for sure. Like, I'm way less sore. I don't hurt as bad. Like, in the mornings, especially when I'm really training hard, like, the mornings are tough. Like, I know that if I tried to stretch in the mornings, it just wouldn't work. Like, I would be just so uncomfortable, like aches and pains and soreness from the training the day before and the you know, whatever the week had in store. So I'm definitely feel like the nighttime is way better for me to stretch, and the GoWatt app makes it super easy. But also like just pretty much anything. I've learned like if I'm just laying on the floor instead of the couch, I just like way more stretching happens.
Easy to get lazy on the couch.
Just laying on the floor. Like, I'm not even doing anything. I'm just watching TV, and I'm just on the floor instead of the couch. And, like, my muscles are, like, getting stretched in ways that they usually aren't. You just sold your couch over at your apartment, Jacob. So I think that we should just sell our
for the next month. We're gonna be on the ground. So
the only thing it does, it just makes us lazy. This is Liver King right here. Liver King doesn't have couches.
The ground will do.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had like that one like story or post about how like he was in this grand hotel and he slept on the floor instead of the hardwood floor because he wanted to be grounded. Or something like that. I don't know. He's kind of a weirdo.
Yes, he's got some stuff. You gotta sift through some of it. Sift through everything.
Absolutely.
Never take anything for face value.
You know? No. Yeah, that's what everyone, like, I think that if you look me in the face and say Liver King doesn't have good ideas, you're wrong.
Exactly.
You're not paying attention to what he's saying. You're just letting the like show that he has at first, where he tries to kind of market you to come into what he's trying to say, reject you. And you just got to get through that little bit. And he has a lot of good ideas and good ways of life. But once again, you got to take a little bit, throw a little bit out, all that good stuff. All right, last question, Kobe. So I know that we talked a little bit about the guy who comes in and can't do a front squat, and he knows the Metcon has a front squat. But let's say someone comes up to you and says, my mobility isn't where I want it to be. What do I do? There's the question. What do I need to do in order to become a better mobilized?
So if we're given 6 months, it's going to be
6 months. Because if you tell me something a year out, like I'm gonna quit, that's our lifestyle in this world, which is bad, but that's just the way it is. So I give you a generous 6 months.
So
some people
we're gonna start it out easy, because once we start something out easy, it's gonna be easier for him to add stuff on, and then hold on to it and keep doing it. And one thing I kind of brought up, and I'll say to some of my athletes at my gym in Mount Pleasant, there's things that people always come up with, like, oh, this is sore, I can't get into this position, I can't do this, that, whatever. Depending on where that mobility problem is, I'll say, all right, get into, if it's overhead, I'm going to have them get their arms overhead, like resting on a chair, having their arms be in this position. So they are getting into an uncomfortable position and not a painful position, starting out for 30 to 45 seconds and then be done with it. So we want to do that for the first couple nights, finding an uncomfortable.
This is at nighttime.
This will be nighttime. So
after the
we're not going to, at the beginning, we're going to scale the workouts that they're having issues with. We're going to scale those, and we'll figure it out as we get on so he can continue to do them and eventually not have to scale that type of workout. But we're going to start everything at night when pretty much everyone has time at night. You can always stay up another, and at first we're saying 30 seconds. So if we can hold that for 30 seconds, he has to stay up for another 30 seconds before he goes to bed. We're going to start, not too much to ask, something that can easily attainable, and we're getting to an uncomfortable, painless position. And then we're going to progress. We're going to get that position for now 45 seconds, and then we're going to get that position for a minute. After a minute, I don't think it needs to be held any longer. So after we hit that minute time and it's been 2 weeks and he's able to hold that position for a minute, still painless the entire time, then I'm going to say, all right, you're going to do that at night still, but during the day at your lunch hour, you're going to take, we can try a minute because you already know you can do a minute, but if a minute is too long to take out of your lunch because you have a quick lunch you're running all over, I want you to take 30 seconds to get into that position again, start your lunch period with that. And then we're going to find another time in his day. It might end up being the morning where he wakes up a minute early in the morning, holds that position for a minute. So if he can hold an uncomfortable position for a minute 3 times a day, you will be seeing mobility gains in, I would say, as quick as 1 to 2 months. It may not be earth-shattering where he's doing scaled day 1 and come day 60 he's doing RX plus, but he will be able to then take the bar overhead and hold the bar overhead now. So we'll just get those small.
Right. So you're saying that these people who have mobility, like, you're not doing anything in the gym to get the mobility better. Like, it's
yes,
like mobility happens outside the gym door.
You can't spend the time. Yeah.
That's right. Right.
No.
It's not the time of the 60 minutes of class, or even like before the class. Like, I know that you talked about coming 10 minutes early and staying after. For sure, that's important. But I agree with you. Like, if you are struggling with mobility, like, it's not inside the gym doors that you need to be worried about that. You when you walk into the gym doors, it's
and you
got
time to go in there and work out. Your mobility goes beyond you just being able to do a workout RX. Mobility affects your daily life, so we want to get you out in your work life, at your home life, doing these things so you can do more things at home or at work. Obviously, at the gym is where we can get that stuff stronger and get a little bit of overload principle, get you stronger, get you rolling in that way, so that when you go back home, go back to work, you can do way more stuff, way more mobility type things than you could before. So it's your entire life. We don't want to just confine it to 60 minutes because then we're going to keep throwing everything in those 60 minutes and you couldn't possibly get anything done. So just have a small commitment outside of the gym and you'll see major gains quickly.
That's good stuff. All right. Well, I think with that, that's all we got here.
Yes.
At the Holt Perspective.
And I'm Jacob.
For stretching.
And we're the Holt Perspective.
So I'm Nicholas.
We're out.